Welcome back everyone to the 12.6 edition of the best solo carries, where we break down 3 champs for each role who are the most impactful for the current solo queue meta. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. Starting things off with our first top lane pick, Quinn is the most undervalued champion in the game for 12.6. A strong laning phase, some of the best roaming power, and incredibly favorable matchups are what make Quinn a solo queue monster. In every elo bracket, we are seeing a ton of Tryndamere, and Quinn does an amazing job at nullifying his power. Other highly contested melee fighters like Garen, Darius, and Fiora are a cakewalk for Quinn, as there are few meta matchups she doesn't destroy. Malphite is the best ban for Quinn, as his armor stacking and long-range engage from ultimate can be difficult to deal with later on. Smash lane and roam with ultimate post 6 whenever you're coming off a reset to snowball your lead and collect your elo on Quinn. Standard core build is a shield bow rush, followed by Wit's End second and Storm Razor third. As for runes, grab press the attack with overheal, bloodline, and cut down. Best secondaries include absolute focus and gathering storm. With Tryndamere dropping out of the top 3 this patch, taking his spot will be Garen. Garen has been one of the most consistent top lane pickups in recent patches, especially for the lower elos. Due to how simplistic Garen's kit is, your ability to run away with an early advantage is much greater than most top laners. Garen's W provides 30% damage reduction, so playing off the cooldown lets you effortlessly win out in duels. This also gives Garen ridiculously strong dive power when ahead, as he can soak up more tower shots than the average top laner. Season 12 teleport changes are what really gave Garen that extra bit of strength, as he can reliably run Ignite and really pressure in lane. Ranged top laners are the champions who give Garen the most issues, so banning Quinn or Teemo is a good idea. The core build is a Stridebreaker rush into Mortal Reminder second and Deadman's Plate third. Grab Conqueror as the keystone with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Conditioning and Overgrowth are optimal secondaries. Without any massive changes to top lane in recent patches, there has been no reason to move Shen out of the top 3. Shen is such a dynamic pick for many different reasons. First off, matchups are super good right now, with many auto attackers like Tryndamere, Fiora, Camille, and Aurelia being played. If you can play off your E and W cooldowns, then there is no way you should ever lose a trade against those champs in lane. Since Shen has the global presence from his ultimate, he has the luxury of running Ignite for extra kill threat while still being able to impact the map. This can lead to games being won in the first 15 minutes, as you can solo kill your lane opponent and then use ultimate bot lane to solidify massive advantages for your team. The Mord ban is always of great value, as spellcasting champs are who Shen tend to struggle against. You can't go wrong with a Frostfire rush into Demonic Embrace second and Thornmail third for the core build. Titanic can be swapped for Demonic, however, if you want more potent side lane pressure. Be sure to run Grasp as the keystone with Shield Bash, Second Wind, and Revitalize. Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter work best for secondaries. Moving on to jungle, the most underrated pickup for 12.6 is Shyvana. The new tanky bruiser build has given Shyvana an incredible amount of strength. She's a champion with durability, consistent damage, and one-shot power, which is pretty broken. You think by building Frostfire into Demonic that your E damage in Dragon form would fall off quite hard, but that's not the case at all. Shyvana is way less reliant on her Dragon form with this setup, and has stronger dueling power by running Ignite and Press the Attack. The stats don't lie either, as Shyvana players who rush Frostfire are winning 55% of the time, as opposed to Nashers at 49%. If your team is heavy AP and you need an AD threat, then running Blade of the Ruined King is viable too. This versatility is amazing for a solo queue jungler, as you can adapt to each game extremely well. Rune Page is very simple, as you'll grab Press the Attack with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Secondaries include Conditioning and Unflinching. Kha'Zix continues to rise above all other assassin junglers as a top-tier pickup. The consistent one-shot power, mobility, and stealth make Ka one of the most oppressive champs with a lead. Lucky for him, generating a lead and hitting item spikes quicker has never been easier than in Season 12. Futures market in runes, along with the added gold from First Strike, lets you cheat your way to your mythic purchase faster than the opponent to start annihilating them in the 1v1. When you've got that early lead with Ka, it's just a matter of playing for objectives, sitting in the fog of war, and waiting for enemies to face check into you. All 3 lethality mythics are viable for Kha'Zix depending on preference. Ghostblade slots in second, while Edge of Night is a standard third purchase. The complete rune page is First Strike with Freeboots, Futures Market, and Cosmic Insight. Run Sudden Impact and Relentless Hunter for secondaries. A cornerstone jungler over the past couple months now has been Diana and locks a top 3 spot once again. Diana's one of the few junglers who has the ability to flip a game in an instant. With Flash and Ultimate available, your eye should be laser focused on finding openings when the enemy team is bunched up. Not only can you single out a squishy and one-shot them, but your ultimate can provide a great deal of AoE damage as well. Most burst junglers don't have the luxury of a strong 1v1 and teamfight, but Diana is an outlier. With SkillCapped being less of a priority in Season 12, Diana can happily full clear, hit level 6 as quick as possible, and begin taking over games. Rocket Belt with Shadow Flame is a really strong build against heavy squishy comps. Into more bruisers or tanks, running Nashor's Tooth is a viable alternative. Conqueror is the best keystone, followed by Triumph, Tenacity, and Coup de Grace. Grab Free Boots and Cosmic Insight for secondaries. No direct changes to any meta mid laners in 12.6, so expect Veigar to continue dominating. Veigar is the perfect solo queue mage as his scaling is amazing, teamfight power is great, and has point-and-click one-shot. The zone control from E in mid-game fights can single-handedly win you games. If you've got Predator pop, the enemy has to give you so much respect. This allows Veigar to control choke points better than any other champion, so your focus on objective control is vital. Arrive early to dragons, set up vision, and catch the enemy team with cage as they are forced to blindly walk into you. Katarina is a great ban for Veigar as her hyper-mobile kit can be hard to micro around. A core build of Everfrost into Rabadon's second and Zanya's third works best for most games. Predator is Veigar's most optimal keystone as it opens up so many more opportunities for the champion. Without Predator, you have to sit back and hope the enemy team walks into you, whereas with Predator, you can force the issue and catch the enemy out of position more often. Riot must be loving all the Ahri skin sales they're racking up right now as the champion remains busted for yet another patch. When it comes down to raw solo carry power, few mid laners come close to offering as much as Ahri. Her pick power from Ultimate and E were always very influential, but the fact Ultimate charges refresh on takedowns has given Ahri that Season 12 champion feel. The recent mid lane additions in Vex and Uxin both have spells that reset on takedowns, and now Ahri does as well, so Riot's really pushing this very snowball-y style of play. The reset is an absolute game changer as you can play hyper aggro and still remain very safe. Fizz is the best ban for Ahri as his high mobility and burst are difficult to fend off. Everfrost, Ludens, and Liandry's are viable mythics for Ahri depending on the game. Shadow Flame and Rabadon's are great second and third options. Pick up Electrocute with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collector, and Ultimate Hunter for primary runes. Biscuits and Time Warp Tonic are great for secondaries. Rounding out the top 3 is the best AD mid laner you can play, being Uxin. Uxin is super busted for solo queue, but he doesn't get as much recognition. Solo kill power in lane is great, roaming potential is amazing, build path is super broken, we could go on and on. Speaking of the build path, Uxin can abuse Shield Bone to Wit's End, which turns him into a pseudo tank with one-shot power. 12.6 Shield Bone nerfs hit the champ a little, but Kraken is a perfectly viable alternative that actually has a higher win rate. Uxin is so oppressive when ahead because you can sneakily stealth right up to the enemy, and if they try to flash away, follow with your long-range catch from E. There is such little counterplay to Uxin when he's ahead, which makes him perfect for solo queue. PTA is the optimal keystone with Presence of Mind, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Roll with Shield Bash and Bone Plating for secondaries. The solo carry ADCs are seeing a considerable shakeup for this patch, with Lucian leading the charge. We just saw Zeri heavily nerfed, Jinx brought down in power slightly, while Lucian was directly buffed, so everything is trending his way. If you can play a Lucian-Nami duo right now, then take full advantage of it. Nami and Yumi are currently the most played supports with Lucian, which is insanely good for him. Lucian wants to be able to dash in aggressively and use his strong early to mid-game power, and those supports enable him really well. On Gale Force completion is where you can force the issue and punish the enemy extremely hard for wasting cooldowns or mispositioning. Runes are press the attack with Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Cutdown. Grab Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm for secondaries. Samira finds a spot on our solo carry list for 12.6 as she's begun to dethrone many of the top tier marksmen. Much like Lucian, Samira was recently directly buffed, and with a ton of other ADCs hit with nerfs, it gives her room to move up the tier list. A couple seconds off of ultimate cooldown has been amazing for Samira, as it gives her more consistent strength in drawn-out skirmishes. Samira doesn't synergize as well as Lucian with the Enchanter meta, but the Renata Glass duo lane is super lethal. A really interesting new build gaining more traction on Samira is a Gale Force Rush with Bloodthirster second. We've seen Aphelios transition over to that build after the Shield Bow nerfs, and Samira is quite underrated with it too. Shield Bow is definitely the safer option though, while Gale Force offers a more hyper aggro snowball-y style. For runes, grab Conqueror with Triumph, Bloodline, and Last Stand. Be sure to run Bone Plating and Revitalize for secondaries, as Ravenous Hunter has been removed for 12.6. The best hyper carry marksman for 12.6 who becomes even more lethal is Twitch. The shield bow nerfs will push Vayne down a little and allow Twitch to move past her as the best scaling ADC. There's really no better time to be a Twitch main, with Lulu, Yuumi, Nami, and Karma being spammed in the support role. Having played against a couple Twitch Yuumi duos recently, it's incredibly hard to beat if they gain any sort of advantage. Builds are all over the place for Twitch, as you can find success with Kraken, Gale Force, or Blade as your rush item. If you're paired with an Enchanter and the enemy comp lacks heavy dive, then going the max DPS route with Kraken is great. Against assassins or without a protector support by your side, opting for Gale Force lets you be more self-sufficient. Best keystone rune for Twitch is Lethal Tempo, followed by Presence of Mind, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. With Ravenous Hunter removed, Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm are great secondary options. Overpowered champion releases have been quite common as of recent, and Renata Glask has been no exception. Most champions who can buff up allies lack power in other areas, like being able to lock down opponents. Renata Glask is an outlier here, as her gank assist from Q lets her set up so many great plays, while E and W enable her ADC to thrive. Let's not forget that a well-timed ultimate can solo win games, as there's so much this champion has to offer. Locket or Shurelya's have proven to be the most optimal mythic items. All depends on whether you value the defensive power from Locket or more damage and playmaking potential of Shurelya's. We noted a few patches back how underrated Guardian was as Renata's keystone, and it's now the most played in 12.6. If you want to sit back, relax, and collect some free elo, then Soraka is the pick for you. The skill it takes to be consistently impactful on Raka is very low, and reaching 3 items is a near guaranteed win. There are so many super strong fighter champions being played in top and jungle right now, and your ability to enable them is massive. The amount of healing from W and Ultimate along with Moonstone and Redemption should be illegal. Complete Warmog's third, and your extended fight power is the best for any champion in the game. In solo queue, players love fighting non-stop, and there's no better support to back up that style of play than Soraka. Aerie or Guardian works super well as Soraka's keystones depending on the situation. Against an aggro dual lane like Lucian and Nautilus, running Guardian is great to limit their all-in potential. In a double ranged matchup where you won't be bursted as hard, Aerie works perfect. Blitz has been a top performer for many months now and a phenomenal solo carry pickup. If winning lane and quickly snowballing a lead is something you enjoy, then Blitz is the pick for you. Do your best to control lane brush early on and force the enemy to drop a ward. This opens up a free gank for your jungler as the enemy team won't have any vision in the river. When your jungler ganks, flash E onto the enemy and follow with Hook for the guaranteed chain CC combo. After picking up some early kills in lane, purchase Moby Boots and be active around the map. If your ADC is in base, don't just sit bot lane twiddling your thumbs. Look for plays mid or back up your jungler on an invade. Locket or Shurelya's rush into Zeke's second and Wardstone third is the best core build. Opt for Glacial as the keystone with Hex Flash, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight. Second Wind and Unflinching are great for secondaries. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. So there you have it, everyone. A pretty light patch in general, so not a ton of movement in regards to the solo carry picks. Anyways, good luck in 12.6, and we'll catch you in the next one.